If it's Monday, and it is, it's time for Begnaud's America, where we find the heart in every story. CBS News contributor David Begnaud returns with our Dear David series, stories submitted by viewers themselves. And David's here to share it with us. David, good morning.
Morning, sir. Today's story is a gem. It was suggested by a viewer named Rob Munson from South Dakota with a little help from his son. We'll get to that in a moment. This story is about a man whose work at Christmas brings people together from near and far. Nestled in Nora, South Dakota, population 2, sits a defunct general store that comes alive once a year. At Christmas.
Second verse.
Nearly 40 years ago, Mike Pedersen, one of the 2 people who lives here, purchased this building and fulfilled a lifelong dream to restore a pipe organ.
Now what am I going to do with it? I'm a bachelor. I don't have a wife and kids to come down and listen to Dad serenade them.
So Mike put an ad in the local paper, inviting people to join him in singing Christmas carols while he played the newly rebuilt organ.
They looked at me like, you goofy guy. Who's going to do that? Well, the rest is history.
From nearby towns across South Dakota to neighboring states like Minnesota, Nebraska, and Iowa,
Welcome to Nora.
tens of thousands of people have joined Mike to share the joy of holiday music.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle.
Mike and his pipe organ have performed every Christmas here for the past 35 years. And thanks to Dylan Munson, whose parents first brought him and his brothers here to the Nora store back in 2015, we can take you back in time. You see, after those early years of coming to the Nora store Christmas with his family, Dylan went on to South Dakota State University and majored in broadcast journalism. And guess what he covered as his college assignment?
You've probably never heard of the town of Nora, South Dakota, but around Christmas time, something magical happens. Since 1989, Mike Pedersen has been hosting what has come to be known as Nora Christmas. And it all started with an organ.
So I told my buddies later when they come back to finish putting the organ in there, I says, hey guys, let's hurry up, get this thing done. They go, what's the hurry? We got all winter. No, I said, we don't. I said, I want to put an ad in the paper and see if anybody would come to Nora and sing Christmas carols with me. Well, they looked at me like I was absolutely goofy. Yeah. Last year we had around 3,500 people come through those doors to celebrate the reason for the season.
This is Christmas.
And it was all attitude.
The way I grew up. It's like coming home.
Musicians come from all around, and visitors simply shout out a song from the book, and away they go.
81!
I have been humbled lately to realize how many people's lives have been touched by it. And it's not me that touches their lives. I'm just the caretaker. But when the room fills up with people, you get a sense of unconditional love. Don't you feel that, people, when you're here? The best way to describe Nora Christmas is the fact that it's kind of like meeting me. It's something you can't describe. It's just something you have to experience. So Merry Christmas.
Among those who keep coming back year after year is Dylan's dad, Rob, who first emailed our Dear David team about this gem of a story in the heart of America.
I've told people, I said, when you come here, it's like stepping into a Norman Rockwell picture. Just everything, the small little town, the country store, the potbelly stove, just everything that's here is just a time that we don't have anymore.
The Nora store hasn't sold a single item since 1962. But Mike's on a mission to preserve this historic building with a few donations and his time. Because there's no Nora Christmas without Mike.
Frosty the Snowman.
It's why he postponed his much-needed hip replacement surgery until after Christmas. He wanted to again serve that hot apple cider to the carolers, who delivered the sweetest of surprises. No, not the treats. Their presence in this town of 2.
And then I have what they call open keyboard. I let anybody come and play. And I get volunteers to come up. Some have been exceptional, some you've just, well, you kind of hope they give it up, you know.
Well, Mike, here's hoping you never give it up.
Well, I said, by God's grace, as long as I'm living at Nora, I'll do this.
This morning, we're sharing a story of extraordinary heroism that emerged from the massive storm that recently slammed Buffalo, New York. A woman noticed the man was struggling in the blizzard outside her window, so she brought the stranger to safety inside. But that was just the start of the care that she gave him. Lead national correspondent David Begnaud went to Buffalo to meet the woman and learned how her life-saving acts of kindness created lasting connections.
This is the first time that Yvonne White is going to see the home where her brother was treated like family.
Hi! How are you?
By a woman who rescued him.
Put it in perspective. You saved his life. You saved another human being's life.
During the blizzard last month in Buffalo, New York, Shakira Autry took action when others might be less willing.
What you did was just beautiful. Just beautiful.
I just did.
Yeah, but you know, he made him comfortable.
Yes.
He felt the love.
He was at my door banging. When I woke up, I heard, help, help.
It was Christmas Eve. Shakira looked out her window and saw that man struggling in the snow.
He keeps screaming, help, I don't know what to do. I feel so terrible.
It was 4 degrees outside.
He can't even walk, like the wind is so bad.
The wind was gusting 53 miles per hour. He had no gloves on, looked lost, and in pain. The 35-year-old and her boyfriend, Trent Alls Jr., took him in. 64-year-old Joey White has the mental capacity of a 10-year-old, according to his sister. He lives in a group home just a few blocks away from Shakira's home. That morning, Joey left home headed for a movie theater where he's worked as a custodian for 40 years. It's unclear how long he lingered in the cold.
He was so frozen. His clothing was completely froze.
What were his fingers like?
They were it was balled up with the bag in his hand. I told him, I walked him through, I said, I have to cut the bag because the bag was froze. He had ice, literally ice balls around his hand.
After bandaging his severely frostbitten hands, Shakira called 911 again and again. But the weather conditions made it impossible for first responders to reach them.
I was waiting for the National Guards, and I still was waiting for 911, paramedics, fire. I was waiting for anybody, and nobody ever came.
As the hours passed, the snow just kept piling up. So Joey spent Christmas with Shakira, Trent, and their kids. She did his laundry, fed him, even played movies for him.
We got to get some help.
All the while, his hands were literally changing color, and the pain was becoming unbearable.
I was thinking, if there's going to take them this long to come and get him, and he's alive, how long is it going to take him to come and get a dead body if he was to pass? I couldn't wrap my head around, I just couldn't do it. This young man's fingers is going to fall off.
On Christmas night, she turned to social media, panicking.
I had to use these to cut the ring off of his finger. I'm not no surgeon. I'm right here, Joe.
About 36 hours after their ordeal began,
I thank these men for helping.
2 Good Samaritans answered her plea.
Yeah, we all love you. We right here with you. You hear me? Because what you tell me, I'm your friend, right? We're friends, right? We're friends forever.
And drove them to the hospital.
When I got in the truck, he told me he was scared, and I said, I'm scared too. I'm scared too, Joey. And I said, you know, we got help. We're going to go. The doctors are going to take care of you. And then when he told me he loved me, I knew he really felt safe. This man could have died. 64 years old, could have died outside. I wasn't letting that happen on my watch, and he wasn't going to die in front of my kids.
What do you think the takeaway is?
I feel that especially nowadays, the way our country is, everything is just, you know, the weather is terrible, this is terrible. And then to see the compassion and the love with 2 strangers is just amazing. So you tell me where the connection is. It's here. It's not here.
Bingo.
It's here.
We got him to the emergency room.
In the spirit of that first Christmas, more than 2,000 years ago, Shakira Autry made room in her home and in her heart for that stranger in need.
I'm right here.
When you think back on it all, what makes you emotional?
I knew he needed help. And I just kept thinking about, what if it was my family member? Christmas wasn't even about the gifts, about my kids. It wasn't. It was literally him. Christmas was him. He was a very good Christmas gift, and now, for the rest of my life, I will remember him.
What would you say to people watching this who will encounter something down the road?
People should be kind, be loving.
We'll take a lesson from you. So thank you.
You're welcome.
We're going to begin this hour with a great story from our lead national correspondent, that is David Begnaud. David has found that every happy ending, of course, is its own journey, and this journey is a wild one. Last month, this just recently happened, a Chihuahua mix named Maya got away from Delta Airlines workers at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport in Atlanta, a giant airport. The dog went missing for 22 days, more than 3 weeks. Now, David first heard about this missing dog from Maya's owner, who reached out to him on social media and also galvanized an army of well-wishers online, including a volunteer who simply would not give up until Maya was rescued.
There she is.
This was the moment when Maya the Chihuahua mix was reunited with her family. Still shaking and presumably traumatized, after 22 days on the tarmac at the world's busiest airport in Atlanta, this dog is the ultimate survivor.
I was so overjoyed when I got my hands on her.
Robin Allgood is the volunteer pet rescuer who brought the 3-week saga to an end. The drama began when Maya and Paula Rodriguez left the Dominican Republic headed for San Francisco. During a stop in Atlanta, Rodriguez had to spend the night in a detention center because she didn't have the proper documentation to enter the country. Pets are not allowed in the detention center, so Delta offered to take care of Maya overnight since she had flown as a pet in cabin on Delta to Atlanta. During the transport of Maya, Delta says the dog escaped her plastic-zipped carrier and ran onto the active runway with that collar on.
Signs are the #1 tool in finding a lost dog. How did I get Maya? My sign.
I am desperate to find my dog.
After seeing Rodriguez's plea for help on social media, Robin Allgood reached out to her and then started her own search for Maya.
Passed out hundreds and hundreds of those things.
But 2 weeks into the search, she lost hope.
I gave her a 1% chance of still being on that property.
Then, 3 weeks later,
You're at home, you get a call at 2:30 in the morning from a FedEx employee who says, I think I saw the dog.
Right.
that man, Al Lewis, had seen Allgood's signs. She raced to the FedEx facility at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport.
So you get to the guard gate, you're like, I'm here to help find a dog, and they're kind of looking at you like, okay, lady, it's 3:30 in the morning.
Right. That's exactly how they were looking at me. Like, really, lady? Y'all, you don't understand. This dog's been missing for 3 weeks, and nobody has seen this dog. The dog is on your property.
She says FedEx security told her you need to speak with Delta, so she drove over to the Delta terminal.
And he says, we can't give you clearance because we don't have proof that the dog's there.
Oh.
We need a picture.
So what'd you do next?
I busted into tears. I went back to FedEx, and he's like, well, that's not our problem. Delta lost the dog. It's Delta's problem.
Now, Delta insists that it search for the dog day and night and check nearby shelters. Meanwhile, it was noon, and Robin Allgood says she was just getting the runaround from everyone.
He's like, I don't know where security is. I go and I just start walking around. She gives me a number. I kept calling it straight to voicemail. Go back, ask for the manager, and they tell me he's gone. He left. I kept riding by.
Allgood says she just circled the FedEx facility for nearly 3 hours looking for Maya.
By this point, it's roughly 3 in the afternoon. You've been there 12 hours.
Right.
You come across the FedEx employee.
And he's like, okay, when I have time, I'll look.
That was FedEx manager Norris Champion. He gathered a group of coworkers and they started to look for Maya on their own. And about an hour later,
I get a phone call and he said, hey, I found the dog. Well, he sent me a picture, and as soon as I clicked on that picture, I saw those seashells on the back of her neck.
That's her.
It was on. I was like, it's her, it's her, it's her. I said, do not take your eyes off of her. He said, go to the airport and find security. And I'm thinking, oh no, not again.
Here we go again.
But actually, that picture changed the game. officials took Allgood onto the tarmac to get Maya.
When you grabbed her, did she flinch?
No, that is what shocked me so bad, because she was so panicked, she was trembling so bad, and I could literally see her pulse in her neck.
Allgood took Maya back to her van. She took this picture, and then she texted it to Paula Rodriguez.
I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy that I got her. Hey!
The very next day, Delta flew Rodriguez's mother, Lizette, to Atlanta for the reunion. She was still shaking, 7 pounds thinner and dehydrated, but Maya was okay, thanks in large part to Robin Allgood.
This is the really angel.
And now Maya is back in Paula's arms in the Dominican Republic, safe finally, and sound asleep.
Ah, don't we love a happy ending? Now listen, as Robin is searching for Maya at the Atlanta airport, her family goes right by her on the family vacation to Hawaii. And she's like, I'm not going. I got to find the dog. She did. And Robin made it to Hawaii and is with her family this morning. PETA is going to split a $5,000 reward, giving it to Robin and the 5 FedEx workers who helped her to find Maya.
We begin this hour with a story of how a handful of people came together with one shared goal: to help an unhoused man. Cashman Whiteley is seen here on the cover of a local newspaper back in August with a simple headline. You see, he became homeless when his life spiraled out of control and he couldn't break out of it. Lead national correspondent David Begnaud met with Whiteley and shares the story of how Whiteley's community stepped in to help.
I didn't want to do this story and have you look like a fish in a fishbowl that we were just looking at.
Okay. And I appreciate that, because respect is a good starting point.
Meet Cashman Whiteley.
You have had an incredible amount of kindness shown your way.
Here lately, I sure have. And I am grateful for every bit of it.
Whiteley has no home, but for the past few weeks, he's been sleeping here at the home of Carmen Flores and her partner, Tatiana Guerrero. They had seen him on the street, looking really sick and sleeping in front of a church.
On a cement cold slab, and the church didn't open its doors. I was like, okay, if our institutions aren't doing it, then we have to do something.
As a young man, Whiteley traveled America working carnivals.
Yeah, let's see here, peanut butter.
Money, he says, was always tight. And after a divorce, the life of this father of 3 spiraled. In 2000, he landed in Southern California.
Didn't have money to rent a place to live. I didn't have, a way to get started. So I simply wound up on the sidewalk.
Could you find a job?
No. After 10 years with the carnival, I had no verifiable job references. I have no address, and at the time, no phone number. No, the employers they have their standards, and I'm below it. I have been told, go away. No, you can't have a job application because you're homeless.
And how does that feel, Cash?
Actually, if I hear it one more time, I'm going to melt down, because it's wrong. Because if I'm actually a human being, I should have the same chances as everybody else.
The 59-year-old avoids homeless shelters.
I have ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I am not accepted by other homeless people. I don't drink, I don't use drugs. I'm different than they are.
This is the story about how a group of people in Claremont, California, who did not know each other, stepped up to help him, and in the process, they saved his life. Starting with Flores and Guerrero, who housed him and fed him.
Jesus left us this sacrament.
Jessie Smith is a part of that group, too. She is pastor of St. Ambrose Episcopal Church, where Whiteley showers twice a week and attends services. Pastor Smith, who along with her husband has taken Whiteley to multiple doctor's appointments, says he gets offended when people don't treat him as if he matters.
I saw it over and over, going to the emergency rooms with him, calling the paramedics, having the police call him on him here or there or wherever. He's not seen as a human. He was seen as a nuisance.
Whiteley had been ignoring a growth on the left side of his face until the pain became unbearable.
It was so bad that I just screamed uncontrollably. I mean, literally, at the top of my lungs. And people would call the police, and the idea was get rid of him. They would take me to the clinic. The clinic would send me to a dermatologist. The dermatologist would just say, well, just put this cream on it or take these antibiotics, which weren't working. And then I'd be screaming again, and this went on for a year.
Dr. David Begnaud is a retired pathologist who met Whiteley on the street. He called some of those agencies that were giving him the runaround.
I kept calling, and it eventually threatening. And
what makes you emotional?
Well, seeing somebody suffer like that in front of everybody, and nobody was taking any initiative. Nobody cared about him.
He tried to get something done. Now, for that, I can say that he has tried to be a good friend.
The diagnosis was skin cancer. He wanted immunotherapy, but his Medicaid insurance plan didn't cover that. So that's when counselors at City of Hope, a comprehensive cancer center, gave him just that, hope. They helped him to change his insurance so that he would qualify for the care he wanted. Flores and Guerrero, who both work in the healthcare industry, went with him to advocate for him.
So this is much better.
That immunotherapy is working wonders.
How do you feel?
Well, I feel a lot better than I did 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, I feel like I was dying, and I probably was.
If you ask him how he feels about Flores and Guerrero,
I think they saved my life because they probably did.
So much changed in your life just in those 3 weeks you were with them?
It's only because of one thing. They really do care. Reverend Jessie Smith, she really cares. My friend Dr. Dave Begnaud really cares.
Why don't we end this with me giving you a hug?
Why not?
Okay, come on.
With people like these in my life, I've got to land on my feet. I can actually see a much brighter future.
It's in good shape?
Oh, you better believe it only has 82,000 miles on it.
well, that future got even brighter. Back in January, Flores and Guerrero took him to look at a vehicle, and he liked it.
We ask that it be something that help him in his journey moving forward.
An anonymous donor gave Pastor Smith the money for Whiteley to buy it.
In the name of the Father, and the Son,
and the very next day, some members of the congregation were there when it was blessed.
How much money do you have now?
I got about $20 and 3/4 of a tank of gas. Not too bad.
Where are you sleeping?
I'm slipping back into the car right now. You know, it's because I'm still in transition phase.
Right now, he is convinced that better days are ahead for him. And it is partly because of those people who showed him that he matters.
A month ago, it was like, you know, will somebody just hurry up and pull the plug on me and just get it over with? You know, because I was just exhausted. I can see myself getting better now.
Yeah,
I can see myself getting back to doing some type of meaningful work. You know, and that I find very hopeful.
We met Cash 5 weeks ago, and I am happy to report that as of today, the skin on the left side of his face is healing wonderfully. I took him to lunch last weekend, and I also took this picture. A big old smile on his face.
You've heard of the Christmas miracle? Meet Thanksgiving's miracle. 10 years old and already her mama's hero.
Fire and ambulance address of the emergency.
Hi, I think my mom is in labor.
Polite, not panicked. Precisely what was needed.
She was in a lot of pain and I felt bad, so I wanted to help. Mama, they said lay on your back in the center of the bed or on the floor. She said she can't lay down. Do you need help? It's okay, Mama, it's okay.
She did amazing. She never questioned anything. She did exactly as she was asked, and we're left with a beautiful baby girl.
Jayla is her name. She came 3 weeks early, and before the paramedics even arrived at the family home outside St. Louis, Missouri.
She's really cute, She doesn't cry a lot, and I get to hold her.
So we have a certificate from the 911 center.
Miracle more.
Wonderful job. So we're so proud of you.
What more could you ask for? David Begnaud, CBS News.
We're going to begin this hour with a girl's inspiring story of golf and gratitude. It took her all the way to the Augusta National Course. That's home of the Masters, of course. For 9-year-old Madeline Quinn, the path to Augusta was part of her bucket list that also included getting a new heart and meeting her idol, Tiger Woods. Lead national correspondent David Begnaud hit the links with her to learn about her remarkable journey. It's a journey of courage and positivity.
We met Madeline Quinn on a chilly, drizzly morning in Southern California and quickly found out there is nothing that's going to dampen this girl's spirit when she's out on the golf course.
What I like about it is whenever I hit a driver, I just like feel pumped up and I'm ready, and I just really like the challenge.
Do you feel like golf is your passion?
Yes.
It's your calling?
Yes, I love it.
Madeline first picked up a club at 2. Whack. Starting with a toy, but quickly moving to the irons.
The love of the game has grown, the passion has grown, and now I get to teach the little girl I love more than anything in the world.
She has a great built-in teacher and dad and caddy all in one.
Her dad, a former PGA pro, started showing Maddie videos of Tiger Woods golfing as a child, and says that's what inspired her.
This is the Girls Junior Club Championship trophy.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is, Madeline Quinn.
Whenever I have a tournament, my dad always says, "What's the goal today?" And I say to have the most fun out here.
You love doing it more than anything else.
Yes.
To go along with that unstoppable smile is a heart that is something of a modern miracle. You see, Madeline was born with what's called a ventricular septal defect, a hole in her heart.
She could not gain weight. Her breathing was very, very rapid.
Madeline underwent 3 open heart surgeries as doctors tried to fix her tiny heart.
It was the hardest thing I've ever had to go through. And then it kept getting worse and worse and worse.
At 18 months old, Maddie was put on a transplant list. A complicating factor was that doctors said she needed a bigger heart to maintain function, perhaps from a 5-year-old. Well, 4 months later, they got the call. A perfect match had been found. The surgery was a success. And for the first time, little Maddie had rosy cheeks and even an appetite. All right, so this heart's doing well for you.
Yeah, and I just had my 8th heart birthday.
Oh, you have heart birthdays?
Yeah.
I love that.
I've been living my best life. I'm so happy and thankful.
Madeline wanted me to feel the joy she says she gets from golfing. And she told me I needed the proper attire. So I asked if she could help me out.
You look amazing, baby.
Oh, this is it?
Yeah.
With a 9-year-old driving, on we went. I don't even know where it went. So much for this guy's golf dreams.
Look at the look on her face.
But Dad wants Maddie to continue to live hers.
Drive for show?
Fredo.
She wanted to see Tiger play in person. So Dad bought the tickets and Maddie made a bucket list poster. Heart transplant, check. Meet Tiger Woods and play at Augusta. Every golfer's dream. Well, as luck would have it, Tiger's caddy spotted Maddie's sign, and he whispered something to Woods.
And Tiger looked, he read it, and took out a Sharpie, signed his glove, and then came toward me with a pen, and he checked the box and gave me the glove. Tiger!
Oh my goodness.
I'm usually really polite, but he hands me the glove, and my dad said, "Say thank you," and I'm like, "Thank you?"
When he signs it and walks away, what were you thinking?
I was thinking, wow, that really just happened. I really just met the best golfer in the world.
Oh, these are golf medals.
Yeah, these are my tournament medals that I won.
And her prized possession.
That's his signature.
Wow, girl. All right.
Yeah, we're gonna frame it.
And about that final item on her bucket list, someone close to Augusta spotted her story on social media and invited her to the Masters.
It was just so special that I got to go there. It was just so green, beautiful. I wanted to go back on the airplane and get my clubs and then fly back and play all 18 holes.
While play was suspended at times due to rain, Madeline says she didn't mind getting wet because she was focused on the golf.
I was just like picturing me like swinging like them, and I'm like, I could be as good as them or even better one day.
Pushing through adversity from the very beginning is what seems to have given young Madeline a sensitivity that transcends her age.
I tell my story to make people feel happy and not so stressed out.
So you're happy to share it?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And in first place with Madeline Quinn.
Her parents say they will never forget the kindness of strangers, especially that family who gave their young daughter her heart.
There is hope. There is some good that can come from everything.
Think of being a parent and saying, we want to give someone else life. And Maddie got to live.
A lot of gratitude.
So grateful. It's beyond words.
Meet Artemis, the Berg family pet, and their hero. When Abigail and Cecilia, aged 7 and 4, went missing recently in the woods behind their Louisiana home, Artemis went with them.
I just start like running around the whole property. I mean, 6 acres. And that's when I called him and said, hey, they're gone.
Police and neighbors searched for hours.
Before I knew it was past 9 o'clock and we still had no word.
After wandering more than a mile, the girls got tired and turned to Artemis.
She was hanging onto his collar.
Was she really?
Yeah.
4 hours after they vanished, a searcher heard Artemis barking, then saw the dog do something that melted hearts.
He wasn't letting them by the girls. He was circling them, growling at the people.
Really?
To protect them. Mm-hmm.
It was only after the girls were reunited with Mom and Dad that everyone learned Artemis was actually the one that got them lost.
He kept running ahead of us. We were trying to follow him, but we couldn't keep up.
The family has forgiven him.
He's got a free pass for a while. I won't be fussing at him for chewing up blankets and shoes.
You're such a good boy.
Indeed, a very good boy. David Begnaud, CBS News, Folsom, Louisiana.
We're going to begin this hour, though, with a story about the power of social media and a young woman's passion to keep her father's American dream alive. More than 1 million people watch this video on social media. That's restaurant owner Wong Lee. Like many eateries, he struggled to stay open in the wake of the pandemic. But as our lead national correspondent David Begnaud shows us, a very determined daughter helped save the family business.
It all started with this TikTok. It makes me so sad to see my parents just wait for customers to walk through the door at their Vietnamese restaurant. Jennifer Lee posted that back in January, along with some reviews.
And it's like my favorite. It's so good.
Of her favorite dishes from her family's restaurant.
And we give a lot of portions too. So good, so good.
In Santa Rosa, California.
Just come check us out. I really hope to see you guys there. Thank you.
Lee's Noodle House has been open for 20 years, but financial trouble started in 2017 when the Deadly Tubbs fire, then the largest wildfire in California history, devastated Santa Rosa. Their building survived, but left the Lee family out of business for a month. Then there was the pandemic. Their dining room was forced to close for 6 months. To-go food only. Jennifer's father is Vuong Lee.
Basically, we cannot afford to hire employees. So hard, so we have to hang in tight, and just me and my wife, and just hang there and try to survive.
Lee and his wife cook the food. They serve it too, and their children help when they can. Jennifer, a grad student in Southern California, thought maybe my TikToks will go viral, and that might help the family business.
So this is our Yelp review. If you guys can take photos of your food and upload it, it would really help my parents' business. So thank you guys all so much for the support and love. Thank you.
It worked. More than 1 million people viewed her first video. And you know what happened after that?
I was shocked to see how many people were here.
Almost immediately, new customers were walking through the door, packing into the tiny 50-seat restaurant. Heck, even the longtime customers couldn't believe it.
It's a little too crowded for me at the moment.
So much so that Jennifer ended up flying home to Northern California just so she could help her parents serve the food.
Wow, the power of social media is like insane.
Okay, come with me to Lee's Noodle House.
When Erica Altis saw Jennifer's TikTok, She activated her own audience of more than 100,000 people on Instagram to help. But first, she took her family to eat at Lee's so they could try the food.
I realized I live less than 2 miles from this place, and so I decided to call on my audience, because I have a big local following, and ask them if they would like to contribute to a larger tip after I'm done with my meal and pay for my meal and pay for my tip.
The meal was
so delicious, so fresh. The bun was perfection. You've got to go here. The best part, though, are these guys, the owners.
The tip ended up being...
I ended up raising $2,000 to give to the family for their restaurant. You know, my community did that for them.
How is it being a local, being someone who likes to contribute to the conversation locally, to watch the goodness that has come about for this restaurant from strangers thanks to social media?
I know, it's incredible, because not only did people donate near and far to go towards the tip, but people, you know, came in for lunch and they're continuing to come, which is so cool to see that there's so much momentum still behind it. And it wasn't just like one solid weekend of business, it's been weeks of business, which is, I think, you know, changed their entire business from closing and being able to stay open, which is incredible.
It's no secret I love the food.
Oh,
so your favorite thing's still the pot stickers?
I think so, but I mean, I would eat everything.
Mr. Lee served us and everyone else that day. His wife was back in the kitchen cooking, and that's where I first met them.
Oh, hello, David.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming.
That donation from Altus is going to help the Lee family start making some improvements around here.
Be honest with you, that money is going to help like fix the AC, central air conditioner, buy a new ice machine. Let's carry on, because my ice machine broke down, my central air broke down, so hopefully I use that money to repair this summer.
Meanwhile, if you're ever in Santa Rosa and you can't get a seat, there's always takeout. And this takeaway.
I think it just gives you kind of a restored faith in humanity, right? I think with so much going on in the world that people want some good news, and we need to get it more into the mix. So I love that you guys are doing this and you're highlighting this, because it may make people do this in their own communities and try to support restaurants in their own communities or any business in their community that's struggling. And so I think that's the takeaway, is one small act can go a far way.
To that.
Yeah.
It's just to bring so much love and joy to my family, because without the people from community, I don't know if I can survive.
Eric Larson lives for adventure.
I think with the wind chill, it was close to 60 below.
He's touched the South Pole and the North Pole 6 times each. He's the only person to journey to both and Mount Everest all in the same year.
You keep going back. Is it ever going to be enough?
My old answer would have been a very robust no way. It was never enough. I'm not so sure now.
Because of the cancer?
Yeah.
In 2021, Larson was diagnosed with colon cancer. They told him it was terminal.
Trying to think about what those few years would be like with my family and my young kids. To say it was difficult is the extreme understatement.
But the prognosis was wrong. He needed chemo, radiation, and had 14 inches of his colon removed. He never thought he would live to do this again. Pack his bags and head back to the North Pole.
Why put your body through that again?
To see it again when I thought I would never do anything again, for me, it feels like the right thing to do.
Because when you've touched the top of the world and survived the predicted end of yours, risk is only opportunity to live wildly. David Begnaud, CBS News, Los Angeles.
David. She is. Good to see you.
You too.
You might remember Lynn's story. We introduced her to our viewers 6 months ago. This Fort Worth retiree started giving free rides to people who she met on the neighborhood app Nextdoor.
Okay, I'm ready.
First was April Goodwin. April needed help getting to her medical appointments after being diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Shortly after she started helping April, she started driving Kevin Horrigan, who is blind. Kevin needed a ride to work 3 days a week.
Lynn's like a little angel. She really is.
Viewers were amazed that Lynn was willing to help out complete strangers, driving them around even though money was tight for her, gas prices were high, and her car is not in the best shape.
One time, her car broke down and she goes and flags down somebody in the middle of traffic to get me into my chemo.
And that was the third time in 3 months that Lynn's car had broken down. So it got us thinking, what could we do to help get Lynn's car fixed up? One of our viewers was so inspired by Lynn that they took action in a way you are not going to believe. More on that in a moment. Moritz dealership in Fort Worth agreed to help us pull off a big surprise for Lynn.
Quick change of plans.
Okay.
We're actually going to take you to a dealership in Fort Worth that we found, which is going to take a look at your car and fix anything that needs to be done.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that's so nice.
Tires, oil, anything that needs to be done, whatever it is, they're going to take care of it.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh.
So 22-year-old car and almost 100,000 miles.
Just drive up ahead, and then the service is right there. There's some guy named David who they told us to find.
Your Lynn's story?
Yes, I am.
We're going to take care of you good. When you're done, this is going to be like new.
Okay, we're not really fixing the car, and he doesn't really work here. But remember that face. From there, we picked up Kevin and April for what they thought was just a lunch to catch up.
So it's been 6 months since we've seen you, and you're still driving them.
Of course.
Where do you drive them to now?
I drive April to doctor's appointments, and I take Kevin to work because he's still working 3 days a week.
Lynn's help is more important than ever. 6 months ago, Kevin was diagnosed with breast cancer and is starting radiation treatments. April, who had ovarian cancer, is now in remission.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Well, now we're headed back to the dealership because remember that guy? Okay, here's who he really is. David Kelleher. David owns David Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in suburban Philadelphia. He is a household name there and has been for more than 20 years.
You girls are beautiful.
Thank you.
But he's not just a car dealer. David's a humanitarian who gets a lot of joy out of giving back.
And they're all going to have the best Christmas ever.
Okay. Okay.
Get ready for this.
What is this?
Checked out pretty good and cleaned it up, and it's like new.
Oh my God, y'all.
Lynn, I don't actually work here. I'm from Philadelphia. I'm a
Okay.
car dealer in Philadelphia. And I saw your story. This is your car.
So wait, it only gets better. So not only is he giving you a brand new car, but he's also
Paying the tax and tags for you, giving you an
'Cause I
extended
can't.
warranty.
Oh my God.
I'm going to put an oil change package on it. I'm going to pay your insurance every year for you, help you out with the difference, so that you can have full coverage on this car.
This woman, who is never without a word to say, was speechless.
go look at your new car.
Lynn was amazed.
You're going to have to figure out what the name of the car is.
The White Knight.
The
White Knight. You already got it.
Yeah.
White Knight.
Done.
I love that.
There it is.
It's a perfect name. To know that I could help somebody in such a way that's been helping other people, you know, I get so much out of it, David. Now she's going to be safe. It's going to be dependable. She's going to be able to help other people. I told her she's got to expand her portfolio of people that she helps.
Well, no, you don't know this, but at lunch she was telling us she brought 2 girls to school who didn't have a ride because their parents weren't available, and she delivered something to someone who needed. Also, people she met on Next Door.
Yeah. I mean, Lynn is such a dear heart. She's looking for people to help.
Yes.
And that's who I want to help.
Thank you.
Love you, brother.
I'm just in shock, and I don't know what to do, frankly. I'm just blown away by this extreme generosity.
What are you going to do with your new car?
Well, I'm going to take April and Kevin to their doctor's appointments and / work, and continue to look for people on Next Door that need a ride.
Love that Lynn story. So since that happened, Lynn wrote to David and said, I am now helping to tutor children. She said, I had my first appointment, I drove there, and I was able to do it because of my new car.
So many layers to that story, and David is here.
Yes, David Kelleher.
Oh, there he is.
Yes.
Bravo. I was just talking about it.
Round of applause. You know what, David, just come over for a second.
Yeah,
you know what's so cool about this story?
Come here.
Not only did you give her a new car.
What's up, David? How you doing? That was
You could have
awesome.
given a used car with low mileage.
Right.
But you gave a new car and covered all those things.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Well,
he doesn't
you know,
have a
you
mic
think
on,
about
but
it,
yeah.
The taxes, the tags, that she doesn't have that.
It adds up.
You know, and then so then I wanted to make sure she could drive carefree.
Yeah.
So we
Nice.
put an oil change package on it, extended warranty.
Without all that
But I
stuff.
love that you saw his story and it made you think, because some people watch and go, that's really nice, really nice. You saw his story and you said, I want to do something.
Yeah, and I hope that's what comes out of this.
Yes,
That somebody else
does.
says, I want to do something.
You inspire, right?
We keep doing it, and all of a sudden we got a good country again.
Thank you,
Amen.
David.
You are a reminder of our better angels.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you. Yes.
thank you from the bottom of our
Lynn texts
heart.
me every day.
Superman doesn't always wear a cape. Thank you, David.
Something about those Davids,
Thank
huh?
you, David.
Hey, by the way, if
David
you've got a
David.
story for me, email me, deardavid@cbsnews.com. Anything about celebrating the extraordinary within the ordinary of people, I want to hear about it.